welcome. Thanks for coming. We're here for an AMA with Champion Finance. Um, we had Aaron last time, maybe it was a month ago or thereabouts, and I think had a really good AMA, and Champion has launched a bunch of new stuff since then, and made a very kind offer to help people recover from the spooky rug that we had a few days ago. So with that, David, would you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about about your role with the team and how you came on board?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Like I said, I guess before we started recording, I mentioned a little bit. I really got involved with Champion initially just as an investor. I had been in a couple other tomb forks, so I was familiar, with the lingo and how things go, and I like to be involved in the discords and stuff. So I kind of picked up where I had been in on those and just helping other new people out. And because of that, Aaron messaged me one day and asked if I'd help them as a moderator on their Discord. So I agreed to do that. And after doing that for a while, then because they, English is a second language for them, and the fact that they're in Southeast Asia, so they don't have a lot, or they have that time difference, and it's harder for them to get involved in things U.S. time. Just a little while ago, they asked me to join the team in a more official manner as their head of community. And so when they set this AMA up, he decided to throw me to the wolves and said, "You're at it. Have your turn." So,
Well, cool. We're glad to have you here, and congratulations on the promotion. That's
yeah,
great.
thanks.
Always love hearing the stories of dedicated community members turning that into jobs.
Yeah.
So cool. So would you start us off then with just a little history of Champion and how you guys launched? And I know there have been a bunch of changes, and we'll kind of work our way into those as we go forward.
Sure. For those that weren't, or just a refresher for people that didn't hear the first AMA, Champion launched on the Avalanche network. The protocol initially had intended to make it a multi-chain protocol. They since that time have decided to back off that and just mainly stay on the Avalanche network. But as a way to go kind of pseudo multi-chain, they started off with one peg token. We've now expanded to 3 peg tokens, but they're all on the Avalanche network. They wanted to expand to a more broader range, I guess, to give people more choice in what their preferred crypto investments were. So our second peg token was launched shortly after I think the first AMA was done, and that is our EVIC token, and that's pegged 1-to-1 to Ethereum. And just a couple weeks ago, we launched our third peg token, BVIC, which is pegged 1-to-1 to Bitcoin. And again, both of those are the wrapped versions of those tokens on the Avalanche network. So the protocol shares our Champion token, our CHAM token, as the one seigniorage token on the protocol with 3 peg tokens. So that's been up to this point has been the major emphasis during the past month, which is a lot in and of itself. But along the way, the team is very dedicated and aggressive and active in making changes as they're needed, as they see the needs of the community change, or the areas that they anticipated would work this way don't work as well as they thought. So they they're really quick to find solutions to areas of weakness in the protocol and try and address those. And I think one of those, in finding those, they were able to write into the EVIC and the BVIC contracts enough flexibility to allow us to do a lot of the things that we have on the table now and going forward. And in retrospect, in doing that, some of those flexibilities weren't in our original PEG token, which was AVIC. And in their desire to allow all of the PEG tokens the same flexibility, they decided to, I guess, for lack of a better word, do away with the AVIC token. Not really do away with it, but they rewrote the AVIC contract and rolled it over into another new token that we have, UVIC, that has the same fundamental standing as the AVIC token. It's pegged 1-to-1 to USDC, but the contract for UVIC has a lot more of the flexibility that the team built into the new peg tokens as well. So functionally, all the tokens work identical to each other within the protocol. All the same capabilities are there. All the same staking provisions are there. So that's kind of how we got to where we are right now.
Cool. And I see the new tokens all have a tax structure based on peg level. Do they still also have the rebase mechanism that was in AVIC originally?
Yes. That was one of the the rebase mechanism, I want to say, is kind of like a two-edged sword. There's a good side to it in that it enables the protocol or that particular peg token to quickly recover to peg. The downside is that if it happens too often, it can adversely affect the financial results that the investors are looking for, and can affect how people feel about it, and that's obviously half of the importance in a protocol. It's not just what the protocol can do, but how people feel the protocol is working for them. So, but yeah, the rebase mechanism is built into each of the peg tokens. The tax structure is the same. The staking is all the same for each of them. We have liquidity pools for each of them, with their peg cryptocurrency. So every feature down the line is exactly the same for each of the peg tokens.
Yeah, cool. And was the move to a USDC peg instead of an AVAX peg in part due to market conditions?
No, our original AVIC token was pegged to USDC as well.
Oh, what? So, it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, it's but it was called AVIC because it was on the Avalanche network, so it made it easy for us to just use the U for USDC instead.
Yeah, makes sense. So I see, speaking of staking, I see recently you guys launched metal pools that are a form of locked staking for LP pairs. Is that right?
Yeah, if anybody's familiar with EMP and their detonator product, our metal pools, which is currently in development, should be available in the next couple of weeks, is kind of like the major portion of the detonator product, where it's a locked staking pool with refer awards and instant awards, and then a daily payout to all the investors in that pool based on their percentage of related to the total pool. So that main part of it is very similar to the main portion of the detonator product that EMP has. we don't have the ancillary things that they have, like their daily, I forget exactly what they are, like their daily max deposit award, and I think they have some kind of lottery and maybe one or two other things that we don't currently have, but we're looking at possibly doing those in the future as well.
Cool. Yeah, that definitely seems like a nice way to stabilize liquidity. And how has liquidity been doing? Are you guys trending up at this point?
We're kind of just staying stable right now, and I think the main reason for that is that we haven't really labeled this as a version 2 of Champion or phase 2 or anything, but we're making some pretty significant changes to the protocol. So we've just in the last couple of days, we shut down all our current boardrooms, for UVIC, EVIC, and AVIC. So we currently are not emitting any more PEG tokens. The reason being those are being replaced with our new what we call trophy rooms. And those will be ready in about a week from now. And as those come on, then the rewards from those actually, we're getting into the meat of what I guess I'm here to talk about. So if you want, I'll go ahead and get into that right now if you want.
Absolutely. Trophy room was going to be my next question, and
Okay.
Cham ETF after that.
That's the biggie. Those two things, they go hand in hand. The trophy rooms, in a way, they replace the boardrooms, but for the investors in the protocol, and like you mentioned, the primary difference and the great difference for Champion is that the rewards from the trophy rooms are going to be a new token that we call Cham ETF. And if anybody's familiar with Dex Finance, they have an ETF product, and this is based on the same principles. The design is a little bit different, but the Cham ETF will be a pool of main cryptocurrencies, those being Ethereum, Bitcoin, USDC, AVAX, and our own Cham token that will be pooled together into at a fixed percentage for each of those, and that percentage can be seen in our documentation. But the rewards will be a Cham ETF token, where you can use that to redeem it for any of those hard assets in that ETF. So that in effect does away with where the boardrooms typically emit the PEG tokens, and the result of that in almost every tomb fork has been people sell the PEG tokens and then the price falls, and then that causes problems. It's under PEG, and a lot of them have found that it's hard to get back to PEG. For Champion, it wasn't as hard for us to get back to PEG with the rebase mechanism, but we found that rebasing too many times caused its own problems. So the team was very active, like I said at the beginning, in finding a way that gives you the best of both worlds. The PEG tokens will no longer be emitted by what will be our new trophy rooms. The PEG tokens will be emitted directly to the DAO from now on, and the DAO will sell those PEG tokens on the open market, and will use the proceeds from the sale of those sales to mint the Cham ETF rewards that go into the rewards for the new trophy rooms. So the kind of hidden upside to that is that creates instead of people selling the PEG tokens for for their profit. It creates demand for the peg tokens instead, because people need those to invest into the trophy rooms, and then the sales of those is what is used to buy the rewards that are given back out to them from the trophy room.
Neat, right. I was struck by this line in your documentation. Sham ETF will ensure the rewards to be distributed among investors are based on their share of investment. No one will be the first dumping, and no one will be the last dumping. Would you care to elaborate a little bit?
Well, it kind of eliminates the need for dumping, or what would drive people to dump, because any investors in the trophy room then are free to claim their rewards and cash them out into any of the hard assets. Those assets have already been provided by the sales of the peg tokens previously. So if they take their CHAM ETF and in effect what they do is they burn that ETF token and redeem it for the underlying assets from that pool. So the sales of those don't affect the peg token, the price of the peg token, or the TWAP, and which doesn't affect the printing in the trophy room anymore.
Right.
Obviously, there still will be peg tokens floating around, and people can and will sell them, but the DAO remains more in control of what happens ultimately with those, and the purpose, or what they can do in that case, is if somebody does choose to dump some of the EVIC and puts it under peg, then that's the DAO's responsibility to buy or sell tokens on an as-needed basis to restore that level that they're trying to maintain for the price of that peg token.
Well, that makes sense. So DAO will be actively buying under peg and selling over peg to help maintain.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, nifty. I think it's clearly worked pretty well for DEX. They've been very stable. So I'm interested to see what will happen. So what's just to remind everybody, what's the time frame for these for metal pools and trophy room that you're expecting?
The trophy rooms are set to launch next week, the 2nd for the EVIC trophy room, the 4th of November for UVIC, and the 6th of November for BVIC. And then hopefully within a week or so after that, the metal pools will be up and running as well.
Very cool. We're quite timely then.
Yeah, for sure. One other important thing to mention with the trophy rooms, and it ties into the metal pools. Let's go down the road and say the metal pools are completed, because that kind of brings us full circle with all the areas functioning. Metal pools will have LP staked in them, either CHAM, AVAX LP, or the peg tokens and their corresponding cryptocurrency LP. Those will be staked in the metal pool where they earn rewards. When they do that, they'll get a token. That token will then be used to go to the trophy room and stake in the trophy room, where they earn their CHAM ETF, and also what we call an extra add-on rewards token, which we won't really get into today, but the next major product after we get all this out, the team has started working on a DEX, and those extra add-on reward tokens will be used to airdrop to those people tokens for the new DEX. So not only do they get their LP rewards, they get CHAM ETF rewards, and down the road they'll get rewards in our DEX. So it's designed where they're gonna earn at 3 or 4 different levels along the way. So it's a great compounding effect, and actually to let out a little bit of alpha here. The CHAM ETF token that they earn in the trophy rooms, when the DEX does come on board, they'll be able to stake into the DEX to earn rewards in the DEX as well.
Oh, very cool. And is the DEX still going to be a balancer fork?
Yes, I believe so.
Cool. I'll be interested to see that. And do you know if the team's planning to move all the liquidity over there? I know I think we only have one Zoom fork running on a balancer fork right now, and I know they've had some challenges getting the oracles to work.
Yeah, I haven't talked with them specifically about that, but from what I've heard, I do think that is the plan.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we can come back and talk about that when it happens. That'll be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. Well, I think then we've basically covered the high level. Is there anything else that we should cover before we get into audience questions?
No, I don't think so.
Good. I figure we don't want to recover everything that we covered in AMA 1. So
Yeah, I didn't want to go back all the way back to the beginning.
So, all right. So Logus767 asks, elastic algorithmic tokens with rebase mechanism. Interesting point, but how will Champion Finance avoid market manipulation, avoid a negative rebase, and not affect the token and thus keep investors confident in the ecosystem, also taking into account the volatility of the market?
Well, for right now, I think the answer is at the moment we have rebase turned off completely for all the peg tokens. That the what we do with the rebase function is determined by the community. That's open to a community vote. But the plan is, and the design of this system is that because the peg tokens will be emitted to the DAO, and they'll control the price based on what they sell and what they buy back. The goal is to maintain a TWAP of 1.03 to 1.05. So in that case, a rebase almost becomes meaningless to the protocol because the DAO is able to maintain the balance that that everyone wants for it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Dev123 asks, or states, I agree with you guys. To sustain the rebase, there has to be stability in price. Achieving that would require some additional mechanisms to reduce sells, since the more advanced utilities are more in the future. My suggestion would be an anti-dump feature that would keep the price stable when there are sells by buying back the token with a larger percentage when whales sell. Also, with the model set up to go across other projects and services, are you looking to peg the value of the tokens with a more stable coin to maintain the valuation and price?
As far as the um, automatic buybacks, I don't know if that's something that the team is working on behind the scenes. As far as their selling and buyback features, that would be something I'd have to ask them in more detail. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
With the model set up to go across other projects and services, are you looking to peg the value of the tokens with a more stable coin to maintain the valuation and price?
Oh, well, that's one of the reasons why Champion chose to use 3 peg tokens. One of them is pegged to a stablecoin, USDC. The other two, maybe the investors that were interested in those are, less risk averse, if you want to call it that, but they're willing to take the chance that Ethereum and or Bitcoin is bottomed out, and they think that investing in our EVIC or BVIC token would be a better thing for them. So we kind of leave that option up to the individual investor.
Yeah, makes sense. So actually, we've got a couple of questions I see about community voting and proposals. Would you just talk for a minute about governance and how what how that has gone and what your plans are on that front?
There hasn't been a whole lot of a need for it in the past. What voting we've done has been based on um, strictly ownership of CHAM or uh, share token. I think the team is seriously considering um, expanding that to LP holders as well, um, because we found out that it can be uh, disadvantageous for whales to have too much of a vote in some of what's going on, and some people choose to invest in a protocol, via LP or via peg tokens as opposed to CHAM, and their investment is just as real in the protocol. I think they're searching right now. I know one problem that we did have in the past in actually handling the votes was they didn't have an accurate way of um, tabulating the votes with including CHAM that was staked in any of the pools. It had to be, you know, in actively, or I guess in your wallet at the time in order for you to place a vote. So I think they're looking for ways around that. So that is an area that's in a little bit of a flux right now, but I think that should get ironed out soon.
Yeah, cool. Makes sense. It is definitely challenging to get governance going, and challenging to distribute, and mechanically.
Yeah.
Let's see. Logus asks, will Champion expand the LP or metal pools to other big dexes or AMMs, or will LP pools only be on the Champion Finance platform?
Uh, Again, that's something I'd have to ask the team. I hadn't seen that question come up or haven't heard them talk about it, and uh, yeah, so I don't really have the answer for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. We don't expect 100% success rate on audience questions. Mugshade asks, what do you know or think of other peg protocol systems like Xgrape, Xwalrus, Xserene? And if you're not,
Uh,
comfortable talking about other projects, you're welcome to say that as well.
no, well, my answer would be I really don't know anything about them. I was previously invested in Frozen Walrus and Grape, and still do have a little bit of stuff in those protocols. But since I got involved with Champion, I've kind of backed off of them, and I actually haven't been keeping up with what they've been doing the last month or so. So I can't give an opinion because I don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I haven't stayed up on those either. And let's see. Now we've got a couple questions about nodes. So would you talk about what what you guys mean by nodes, and what the offerings are, or what they will be?
Um, with our original peg token AVIC, we had nodes, and I think from the original AMA, as it was discussed, it was just nodes in name. It was just a form of single-sided staking, is all they were. But I think that's one of the areas that through these 2 or 3 months that Champion has been running, that they found that it wasn't producing the value that they wanted for the protocol and or for the investors. So they've chosen to do away with nodes at this time. Um, the nodes that people had, we had a little bit of single-sided staking recently for the EVIC token as well, but all of that has been put on hold. What nodes are still there are still active for those that hold them, but as they get out of them, they won't be renewed. And there aren't plans right at the moment to implement anything else.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds like the metal pools really take that
Yeah, exactly.
that role, right,
Yeah.
of trying to lock up some liquidity, and better to
Right.
do it with liquidity pairs than with single side.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. If they did do it, I'm sure that they would do it as a LP type of node, but maybe they call it something else. I think half of the battle with nodes is that nobody really defined what a node was, and then just the word nodes has gotten a bad taste in everybody's mouth from the last few months. So you almost don't want to use that word in your protocol.
Right. I mean, I'm in a number of node projects. Only one of them actually provides me with an RPC endpoint.
Right.
So let's see. We've got another one from Logus, who was reading your docs and white paper and realized that the new products seem a bit complicated to understand. So, is the Cham ETF friendly to anybody with no tech and cryptocurrency experience? And does Champion plan to work on an educational program to reach out to the community and make onboarding easier for investors?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we do try to work on. If you get on our Discord, actually, and I guess that might be one of the first things that caught Aaron's eye is when I started getting involved in Champion. I started doing some infographics to upload to the Discord for people to use to help them understand the protocol better. And I've done several of those. Actually, I did some of those for Frozen Walrus while I was there too. And that's why I started doing them for Champion. But we do have some, and I've just in the past couple days put out a couple new ones for this new structure that we've been discussing today. So yeah, some of it is easier for people to see in a visual representation than just to read through the docs and try and understand how it all works together. So it might be good if you go onto our Discord and to the let me go look. I'm gonna forget the name of the channel here. Hold on just a second. Our Chamley Education channel on the Discord will have some documentation there, and I will be producing some more that should help answer some of those questions, I think.
Yeah, cool. We'll look forward to seeing that. Supaskills asks, there seem like so many different options. What's the best strategy for someone new, like a low risk to high risk strategy? And here, I also just want to add to this. It makes me think of the vaults that Dex Finance just launched. And do you guys have any plans along those lines in the future?
I don't know what Dex's vaults are, but as far as our protocol, since it kind of is a linear progression that you can go through, as I mentioned, you can get into any of the peg token LPs, and that's where you would start. You'll earn rewards just for investing in the protocol with the LP, and then as you read the docs or look at the infographics and understand more, those LPs can be put into the metal pools when it comes out. You'll earn additional rewards. Then you can put the token that you'll get for that deposit in the metal pool and put it in the trophy room and earn even more rewards on top of that. So it's you can for sure you can dip your toes in and just buy some of the peg tokens and form some LP, or if you just want to buy the share token and go straight into the trophy room, that's a very simple entry point too. And if you wanted maybe the simplest thing that you could do right now, there is I say a beta version. You do actually get the Cham ETF token, but you can go onto our website now and go to the Cham ETF page, and it basically is a savings account if you want to look at it that way. You can mint your own Cham ETF right now, instead of staking into the trophy room and earning rewards, you can just basically what you're doing is buying the CHAM ETF, and when you do that, you get a share of each of the tokens that are in that pool: Ethereum, Bitcoin, AVAX, USDC, and our CHAM token that, from our protocol. So you could just hold those in assumption, if you're of the opinion that the market is near its bottom and those are going to go up in value, then all you have to do is mint CHAM ETF and hold it and get a cross section of all of those cryptocurrencies in your wallet.
Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, a lot of different ways to enter and ways to reasonably minimize risk.
Sure.
Cool Wind asks about this phrase from the white paper. The Dow fund may or may not be invested in safe projects to earn yield and grow itself at the discretion of the team. Why did you use the non-decisive form here? Dow will not be so crucial. May we anticipate that?
That's a question that would probably need to be asked of Aaron. I'm not my level in the team is not. I don't have a say on what the Dow does at this point, and I think a similar question was asked in the original AMA about what other exterior investments or whatever the Dow may be undertaking at that time, and I don't think it's changed any since then. They're mainly working on protocol right now. I don't think they've undertaken any exterior investments, and I don't know how they would do that. It would probably be best to answer.
Yeah, that's fair. It certainly makes sense to retain the optionality to do that.
Right.
And Logos has another one. Can you tell us in your own words why the DeFi world needs another protocol with ETF products and elastic algorithmic tokens like Champion? Do you think this innovation will improve the user experience regarding vaults and the longevity of the project?
Well, like they say about what they say about opinions. So my opinion and a couple dollars will get you a cup of coffee. So, but I think that being said, I think where where Champion's headed with the ETF reward pool is provides much more prospects for a lengthy run and for a better return, more stability than in the past, where you don't see at least we shouldn't see the massive fluctuations in peg token prices, because there shouldn't be as much of a market or demand to sell the peg tokens as there has been in the past, and the rewards that the investors are getting are hard assets that that they know they can rely on as much as you can rely on anything in crypto. But if people know that they're earning Ethereum and Bitcoin and AVAX, as opposed to just another token and another protocol somewhere, I think that's a pretty good selling item.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like you guys are well on the path to actually generating some meaningful revenue. Certainly the DEX will generate revenue, but even in the meantime, just mint fees, on or burn fees on CHAM ETF are actual revenue that Tomb Forks don't typically have.
Yeah, and we still, I don't think we talked about, we still do have sell taxes in place. If there should be some rogue whale out there that does decide to dump a bunch of EVIC or BVIC peg tokens on the market along the way, we have sell taxes that go into effect once the token drops below peg, and and then all those taxes go back to the DAO as well too. So, and in turn, the DAO would use those to buy back tokens to raise it back up to peg. So it's protected very well.
Yeah, right. It seems like this should be highly sustainable, so long as the people managing the DAO fund don't fall asleep for
Right.
too long. So let's see. So then Kaner asks, I admire Champion's open communication and declaring inspiration of projects such as Amp Money and Dex Finance. What reactions have you gotten from those project owners, if any?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part of the question.
Oh, sorry, that was Kaner asks. He says he admires Champion's open communication and declaring inspirations from projects such as Amp Money and Dex Finance. And what reactions have you gotten from those teams, if any?
I haven't heard of any reactions from Dex. Actually, EMP, we're still kind of half in negotiations with them. They were going. We had signed up with them, or we're in talks with them about porting their full detonator product to the Avalanche network for us to use in our protocol, and we weren't able to work out the scheduling with them based on what they have going on and our time frame needs for what we've got going on right now. But so there's a good relationship between our two teams, and that may be something we work on further down the road. But that's just on the back burner for right now.
Oh, cool. But yeah, nice connection to have, and right. I mean, certainly, if you've both built a very similar product in parallel, I imagine you guys could join forces and sell it on other chains pretty effectively.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Well, good. Any other questions from the audience? Anyone? Anybody I've missed? Leon asks about what your plan is for global expansion. I'm not sure this is quite an appropriate question, but I'll ask it anyway. which regions are you focusing on, or is it focused on building and growing to gain customers, users, and partners?
I thought you were going to say global takeover, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think the team being based in Southeast Asia has a good handle over there, and they kind of just brought me on board to at least have a presence in the Western world and be able to get the word out a little bit better over here. So that's all that we got going on right now. We don't have too grandiose plans to the Champion will be the one protocol to rule them all. So we'll get our piece of the pie and move from there. As long as we can provide a good product for our investors that's sustainable and rewarding for them, we'll be happy.
No global domination by Q2
no,
next year. Huh?
And yeah, that's right. Not next year.
Well, cool. This has been a lot of fun, and thanks so much, David, for the great information.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
And yeah, do you have anything you'd like to say in closing? And anybody else, please get last minute questions in.
Yeah, I'm not used to all this talk, and my throat's starting to get a little raspy here on my end. I'm gonna have to get used to this, I guess. The only other thing I would bring up is the spooky, rug.
Oh yeah, the
thing
spooky
that we
thing,
talked
right?
about.
Right.
I don't know what we need to do on your end, or if anything really needs to be done. I'll just mention that the team from Champion has committed to donating $2,000 worth of our CHAM ETF token as payouts to members of your community and members of our community combined. for people that, were in a loss because of Spooky. We realize that that's just a token probably of what a lot of people lost, but we'd like to show our concern and our appreciation for everybody. And I think in talking with Aaron today, the best, easiest way to handle it maybe would just be to compile a list of, you guys compile
I can
your
talk
list.
on that if you want me to, David.
Sure, that'd be great.
Sorry, I've been at work, so I just got able to get up here. Yeah, so for everyone who's listening, Aaron and I have been talking about it. So we're going to compile a list. So for those in Raiders, and some people have already received some money back. So, but I mean, if you received a small amount based off your percentage, I know some people only received like $5 to $10. And I'm sorry about that, guys. There's only so much to go around based off percentages. But please submit a ticket within Raiders Discord, or submit a ticket within Champion if you're here from Champion. And Aaron and I are going to look through the transactions, find out who has received money previously and who hasn't based off the people who have submitted. And then we'll start, and then with your ticket, submit your transaction hash ID and proof that it was your transaction, and then your wallet that you would like money sent to. And then we'll start filtering through those, and then reach out and let you know when we're sending money and how much you'll be receiving based off the percentages that we work out.
Super.
Yeah, very cool, and just super cool of you guys to do that. It's more about the doing it and helping people come back from the how awful it feels.
Yeah, I agree.
Than even the amount sometimes.
Yeah, and it won't be a big amount, but it'll give people an entry point into Champion Finance too, since it'll be paid back in our CHAM ETF token. That could always be redeemed, of course, but it gives you a reason to get in there and poke around and find out more about us. So
yeah, hopefully people will stick around.
Yeah, it means a lot to us that you guys were willing to do that. I mean, we've had nothing but a great relationship with your team since the first time we hosted the AMA with you guys, and I've been in contact with Aaron basically on and off since then. So yeah, we're just very grateful, and thanks so much for that.
Oh, you're sure welcome. We're glad to. I say Aaron's glad to. I didn't play any part in this, so other than passing on the messages.
Yeah, cool. Well, good. Well, thanks again, David. This has been super informative and interesting. Thanks everybody for coming and for asking so many good questions.
Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, David.
So yeah, good to talk with you guys.
We'll be uploading the audio to YouTube. So if you want to hear it again, that's where it will be. If you're hearing it on YouTube for the first time, please like and subscribe. I'm Dejanic. I've been here with Julian and Relentless, and we've been hosting David from Champion Finance. Thanks so much.